All right, let's do it. Hey guys, I got something special for you today. Callie, hit him with all the graphics, man. We got Hink's top 10 fabulous, most awesome tips from Reddit from you guys. And I'm also gonna give you my tips as far as my top 5 tips this year as far as what I learned, what has been most applicable. Let's get right into it, okay? So I would like to, in my best main voice, give the power to the people.
And we give it back to you, the people.
I wanted you guys to get your voices heard about what you thought was the top tips, okay? So we're gonna do the top 5 in reverse order, starting with number 5. If you guys would like to participate, number 1, leave a comment down below on what your top tip is, and if there's enough of them, I'll make another video. And number 2, join us on our subreddit, r/gettingbigger, and that's where I made the original post, and that's where you can find us. All right, so number 5 is gonna be from Gold Standard Peen, and he says, warm-up sets are just as important as working sets. Use of heat, tunica scraping, and a light fulcrum hang prior to extending and pumping. This was the number 5 most upvoted tip from you guys. I'll say that, I guess I am gonna do like a good take, bad take on it, based on my personal opinion. So obviously the people agree with this guy. In my opinion, I don't know how important like warm-up sets are. Like for me, my warm-up set is like light stretching, but obviously this guy was a game changer. Without a doubt, the most mentioned thing was like heat. I am actually making a video because hot take heat here, I don't think heat is as important and possibly even dangerous, okay? I'm gonna make a full video of like the pros and the cons of heat and like my like final conclusion, okay? I'm letting you know that it's coming, but I'm also letting you know that I'm not like, yes, heat is key. And I'll tell you that I have been experimenting with, you know, a heat pad myself, okay? It's coming from a place, but in this guy's case, he uses heat, tunica scraping, and a light fulcrum hang, and it's made a difference. So that's number 5. Number 4 is from our newest mod Gold member, okay? And it is comparison is the thief of joy. All right, I mean, obviously, absolutely amazing, you know, tip. For example, you do a routine and you gain a 1/4 inch in a year, and then you go on there and you see somebody gains a 1/2 inch in a year. Instead of being happy about gaining a 1/4 inch, you're gonna be upset that you didn't get a 1/2 inch.
But me being compared to him, I took offense to that. It became personal with me.
Self-explanatory, great take, Gold member, great tip. And you know, here's a possible hot take here. One of my favorite things that I've been a part of is bringing him on to the subreddit, the Getting Bigger subreddit this year. I know like some of his stuff has been a little bit controversial, but overall I've been very pleased with the work that he's done, the reorganization, even like the Autobots. You know, hats off to you, Gold member, you're doing a great job and I appreciate you, bro. Tip number 3, wrapping my pump with a heating pad has made a noticeable difference in expansion. Using cocoa shea butter and gently massaging will resolve petechia within 24 hours. All right, so part 1, wrapping my pump with a heating pad has made a notable difference in expansion. Guys, like I said, I'm gonna make a whole video on actual heat because I think it is very important. And I always hear this term expansion, and I've actually kind of, I won't say bicker, but I've definitely had a back and forth with BD about expansion versus edema. And I think that there is like, Callie, can you put up a graphic, but like if this is a circle here where it's like expansion, and then this is the circle here for edema, this like middle part where they overlap, like is actually pretty big, okay? So it should be like, you know, the circles are overlapping like this, and then there's a little bit of expansion and a little bit of like just pure edema over here. One of the things about heat, guys, is it actually leads to one, increased lymphatic flow, and number 2, it actually leads to increased interstitial fluid flow. You increase the rate of edema accumulation. We're gonna talk all about it, guys. It's a very slippery slope between like, are you actually getting more expansion or are you just getting edema quicker? Hot take Hink. You know, this is not supposed to be a hot takes video, but you know, that's just my take on it. You know, this is my video, guys. Part 2 of that is shea and cocoa butter gently massaging will resolve petechia within 24 hours. So great tip for those of you that are getting petechia. Personally, I think that petechia is like, you know, little microscopic breaks in your blood vessels, and it's going to resolve within 24 hours anyways, for the most part. I definitely see how like massaging can actually resolve that blood a little bit better, but you know, obviously that is the number 3 most loved tip out here, so it is what it is. Number 2, Campfire Crucifix writes, lose weight. 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 Golden Hink Awards for this. You guys know like how passionate I am about weight loss. Part of that is because I lost 30 pounds this year and it made like the biggest difference in my life. It literally, like, the more weight you lose, the better you're gonna feel about. Now, this is assuming you're either overweight or obese. Some of you guys are pedantic. I'm already skinny. I don't need to lose weight. No, maybe you need to put on muscle then or something, or just keep where you are because you're perfect just the way you are. But losing weight is gonna make a tremendous difference in your confidence, and as far as like the actual size of your member, it's going to appear bigger. More of it is going to be visible as well. So, I mean, absolutely amazing take. Lose weight, great job. And the number one from this Reddit post, most upvoted tip for 2023 is don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Find your own path and stick to it, by none other than King Chungus. I still don't know what a Chungus is, but maybe you guys can leave a comment about what a Chungus is.
That'll hold 'em all white.
But BD, of course, himself. It's funny, it's interesting. The comment right below it was like, you know, I agree with this comment, but I also disagree with this comment, because he said something like, there's been guys like, you know, BD, Perv, and Hink that have come along and tried to make things more streamlined and safer in some cases, and it's important to like listen to what they say. You know, I think this is a pretty good take in general, because like, for example, there's all kinds of new techniques out there, but you know, I'm sticking to what works for me. Manual stretches and pumping. Like I'm not doing like really exploring. I don't have a lot of time to explore, but that's neither here nor there. But I also think like the counter argument is a little bit of a point too, is that, I mean, and I think that's kind of a given in what he's saying, is basically learn from what's out there and then figure out what works for you. BD, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth. If I am, you know, either make a response video or just leave a comment if you want to clarify any of that. But definitely I think it's a great point. Okay, so those are the top 5 tips from you guys on Reddit. Now it's time for me to give you my Hink's amazing super top 5 tips for 2023. My number 5 tip, okay, is basically Thanos was right.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Sometimes you gotta do stuff yourself. One of the things that like people, oh, this getting bigger sub is dying. I mean, I kind of agree with that, just because there's all these lazy people that get on the subreddit. What's the fastest way to gain an inch? What is this? Oh guys, I think I might have injured myself. What is this? Nobody takes the time to actually like try to figure, it's not fair to say nobody. Very few people take the time to actually figure it out themselves. That's what I did. I had an injury. Nobody knew what it was. I took my time and, you know, I took my talents to South Beach, whatever, and I was able to composite like an injuries guide for this, which I need to redo because Imgur took down all its images and it's not nearly as helpful as it used to be. But it's just, guys, you can do your own research and literally contribute meaningfully to the subreddit instead of just being lazy and asking lazy questions. Like, there's nothing, absolutely nothing special about me or what I do, guys. I just think of an interesting PE related question and then I research it. And then I bring that information to you guys. Be like Thanos, do it yourself. Number 4 is actually make the time, not excuses. So many, you know, I feel like Tony Montana, just because you're all a bunch of effing a-holes because you don't have the guts to be what you want to be. And, you know, I won't do my Tony Montana accent because it sucks. But the point is, some of you guys don't take the time to maximize your potential. And whether that be like with diet and exercise, instead of doing what you should do, you're, you know, on the couch eating Doritos and like not working out, when you could just, you don't have to join a gym. You could get out and go on a walk. Okay. You could just not eat Doritos. Okay. You could have some freaking willpower to not eat shit and actually like take care of your body. But the same thing goes with PE. It's like so many, I don't have the time to do PE. It's like, guys, even if I'm like insanely busy, some days I'm like, all right, it's been 14 days since I've had a break. I need to take a rest. But other days I will like, basically before bed, I will just do some manual stretches for 5 minutes and I'm still getting it in. That is still going to contribute over time to long-term gains. So stop making excuses, get it done. Controversial here, okay? Full blown, okay? This is me being honest and forthcoming with you guys. My number 3 tip is to do not fudge your measurements early on. Everybody is so excited to make gains, guys. Everybody wants to get to that 1 inch plus club. I get it. But for me early on, it was exaggerated. It was exaggerated. And as a result, it's effed with me long term because I was like, you can go back to my old posts. I'm not going to take them down, guys. But I was like, oh, here's my 1 year follow up. I've gained an inch in length and I've gained 6/10 of an inch, maybe even like 8/10 of an inch is what I said initially. I wasn't trying to intentionally deceive, but I was. Like, for example, with the girth measurements, instead of waiting long enough where I knew it was just like permanent measurements and not like just post pump, I did not. And I measured probably too soon after pumping and was like, yay, look at me. I'm so much bigger now. And yes, so somebody could criticize me right now and be like, Hank, hold on. In your 1 year follow-up, you said that you gained an inch in a year. But then at your 3 year follow-up, you said you gained 1.2 inches. And now I have to be like, well, if you actually look at the measurements, it was really closer to like 7/10 of an inch is what I actually gained over that time period. But yet I said an inch. It just makes me look inconsistent. And probably like watching this right now, it just makes me look bad. Guys, for the sake of actually having a better realistic understanding of what your goals are, and that's part of why I made like the actually realistic goals video if you haven't seen it, because so many people are like me, oh, I gained an inch in a year. It's like, I don't think that's realistic. I don't, because I didn't gain an inch. I thought I did at the time, but it really wasn't an inch. Even when you look at the measurements, it wasn't an inch. Be conservative with your measurements, guys, and that'll keep you motivated long term rather than like plateauing, okay? I do think, hot take here, that a lot of plateaus are just due to like underestimating or overestimating measurements initially. Number 2, stay consistent. Okay, I'll tell you that earlier this year, especially when I started like focusing mostly on weight loss, prior to that, I was like, it seemed like I would stop gaining. It seemed like I had plateaued. Every time I measured, I had not gained. So I just said, F it, I'm not going to measure again for another 3 months. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and what's worked for me in the past. Lo and behold, when I measured again, I gained like another 2/10 of an inch, okay? And it was like, it was such an amazing surprise. It was like, holy moly, like I'm actually a lot bigger now. Like what happened? And if you are consistent and you are finding something that has worked for you in the past, I don't think you need to switch things up, guys. Yet another hot take here. I just don't think it's necessary for you to just have to switch things up all the time, and you can still see gains without that. Be consistent, stick to your plan, don't overmeasure, and you're good to go. One of the main things that I don't like about measuring strain is it requires you to measure like all the time. Now, that being said, like I get it. I literally read a comment and a guy was like, basically, I love measuring because I finally have like an objective set of numbers that I can use to make sure that things are working. I get that, guys. If it works for you, it works for you. Like, don't just listen to me, listen to BD, listen to Perv, listen to what they say. To me, if like you're measuring multiple times a day, like that's neurotic behavior, and that's actually consistent with the literal definition of like penile dysmorphia disorder, measuring. Now that is not in the context of measuring for progress. Guys, if you gain 1/10 of an inch every month, that's 1.2 inches in a year, okay? You're not going to get that in a year. I don't care. I don't care. You're not, okay? Point is, you don't need to measure all the time, in my personal opinion. And I don't think it's healthy to measure all the time either. But if you need it to measure your strain and measure your stress, whatever you need to do, then do you, okay? I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody else's techniques. I'm just giving my opinion. The number 1 game-changing, without a doubt, best thing that I have done the entire year was, of course, lose weight. I mean, guys, like even in this shirt, like, I don't know, man. Maybe I just need to get over myself.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. You know, I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about? That phrase is trademark, not to use the other position, Ricky Bobby.
I feel so much better about myself, like being leaner, like I have abs again. My girl is like rubbing on my stomach. My D looks so much bigger because I don't have like hardly any of a fat pad now. And even when I turn like laterally before, so like lateral like this, okay? So before I would be like this is slightly exaggeration. Now this is my waist, guys, not my D, but like my waist was like this thick. My D would stick out. It would look like, you know, like whatever, that much sticking out. Now, when you turn from the side, like my profile is like this, even though my D is like the same length, it looks like way bigger from a lateral perspective. I wish more of you guys would freaking understand that and stop like, I mean, you don't have to stop pulling on your Ds. One of the guys on a comment recently was like, well, Hink, why can't I do both? Maybe you can do both. A lot of people don't have like the bandwidth, for lack of a better word, to go like all in with diet and exercise and to go all in with PE. Here's another hot take here, guys. I think 60% of you guys doing PE would not need to do it if you just lost weight. Okay? If you just lost weight, got thinner, you would be so much happier with yourselves, with your body, with your performance in the bedroom. And it would just make a world of difference as far as proportionally what you would be seeing, okay? But, you know, I've made enough videos. I'm not going to perseverate further on that. I'll say it again, guys. The smaller the plate is, the bigger the steak is going to look on the plate, okay? The bigger the meat is going to appear, if you get my drift. Guys, I can't thank you enough for watching. I do have something special coming up to celebrate the end of 2023. It's going to be like a 2023 recap of like my favorite posts, my favorite comments, like all of these, the favorite videos that I watched. All of this is going to be coming up soon. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I love you guys. Appreciate the support. Peace and love.